Hello everyone and welcome back guys to round 16 of season 2 of the F1 2018 Williams Road to Glory Career Mode. Well, today we're here at the Russian Grand Prix, and obviously the Russian Grand Prix, for those of you that if you've watched F1 Career Modes from the 2018 game, you'll know this is where the regulation changes happen. I'm really looking forward to this. Okay then, well it appears that going into Season 3 we do not have any regulation changes, which in many ways I think is actually a good thing. So that now means that we can focus on upgrading this car right the way through to the end of Season 2, as well as then chucking it, hopefully obviously by that point we'll be right near the top, ready for Season 3. So well, we're going to pile on a couple of upgrades onto the chassis straight away then. Obviously I know a lot of you guys have complained, saying Matt, upgrade the chassis, but I really wanted to wait until these new aero upgrades before I made any sort of changes like that, because obviously there's no point me upgrading it for then I have to spend another 500 R&D points 2 weeks later to obviously have to sort of jig it ready for Season 3. But yeah, there we are then. There is no regulation changes going into Season 3, which honestly for me, that means now we can fight. Now we can pile on these upgrades right the way through to the end of Season 2 and see where we head going into Season 3. There 264 R&D points taken away from free practice means that we should be able to get one extra upgrade on the car as well going through this weekend here. So we are actually going to put an engine upgrade on the car as well here. We've got 3 chassis upgrades already going, and obviously now with that extra 1 engine upgrade, I think really, once we've got all of these on the car, if no one else was to upgrade anything, we'd probably be right there with Red Bull and Mercedes, which would obviously be really good for us. But qualifying then, overall Q1, was a fairly sort of textbook story. Both myself and Lance would make it through into Q2. We'd only just scraped through, but it was very sort of tightly bunched between pretty much everyone, obviously apart from the Toro Rossos there. The top 4, well, the top 13, as you can see, separated by just 1 second in intermediate conditions, which is obviously very rare there. But, we got through in P14, as I said. I think the dropouts were the sort of the typical, the Toro Rossos, the Haas cars, and then, if I'm not mistaken, Stoffel Van Dorn, there we are. So nothing all too surprising just there. And as we move into Q2, though, as you can see, coming to the once again of my lap, unfortunately, Fernando Alonso had held me up just a little bit here. But I'll admit, we're probably not keeping it quite between the white lines. We're out of the final corner. And we do actually go P2 in Q2, which is obviously a very good time from myself. In my personal opinion, I was very happy to be, less than 2 tenths off Lewis Hamilton going into Q3, which I will certainly take. Not too sure when the last time we actually, had a British 1-2 in any sort of session in this series was. If any of you guys have got that stat, please let me know down in the comments there. But unfortunately, Lance would miss out down in P11 there. Sebastian Vettel would barely scrape through on a set of the ultra soft tyres there. So maybe we might see him go for a little bit of an alternate strategy this Grand Prix weekend, but he really needs to beat his teammate Kimi Räikkönen in this Grand Prix weekend. I think Kimi's still holding up about a 78-point gap to his Ferrari teammate here, obviously second in the Drivers' World Championship here. But let's move on then into my Q3 run here. Obviously the run that means the absolute most over the course of this Grand Prix weekend. Obviously we want to be starting as high out the grid as we possibly can, almost 220 miles an hour down in towards the turn 1. It's not really a straight, it's not really a track I associate with, that sort of high speed, but I will certainly take that out of the final corner, pushing the track limits a fair bit. I'll be the first to admit that, but it was overall a 1 minute 29.3 run there, which I will certainly take. So as we head back to the pit box here, we don't really want to go out for a second run. Valtteri Bottas has just gone 19 thousandths quicker than myself, but where are we going to be by the end of this qualifying session? Then we'll have to wait and see. Less than 1 minute to go down. We do drop down to P5 by the end of the session there, behind both Ferraris and obviously, behind both Ferraris and the Mercedes cars here, ready for the Russian Grand Prix. There's Seb on pole. As I said, he needs to do absolutely everything to get himself back into title contention, and that is certainly a good way to start. But let's move on then into the Russian Grand Prix. So here we are then, ready for the Russian Grand Prix. I'm really looking forward to this one. As I said, Sebastian Vettel needs to give himself the best chance of taking the title fight as far as possible towards the end of this season. And last season, he was able to take home the race victory ahead of Bottas and Kimi Räikkönen. Hamilton would come through for P4 with Daniel Ricciardo 5th, and Daniel Ricciardo 6th with Verstappen up in 5th place there. And Charles Leclerc and myself but both have a fantastic race out in P7 and 8 ahead of Alonso and Ocon will round out the point scorers in that race. But coming into this one, obviously a huge amount has changed in this series. Obviously, really the top 8 could be very, very similar as to the way it was in last season because, well, Charles Leclerc and myself have both once again had mega seasons over the course of Season 2. And, well, the Sauber and Williams car have both come on leaps and bounds. We pretty much both moved from right at the very back to now basically best of the rest in a lot of a weekend. So, obviously, we're really, really hoping we can continue that form. In terms, though, of the grid, as I said, Seb is ahead of Lewis on the front row, just 600ths of a second separate the pair of them. Potentially, Lewis can get a good run in towards turn 1 and challenge for the race lead. The Finns make up row 2 with myself ahead of Danny Rick on row 3. Charles Leclerc 7th, Sergio Perez 8th, Max Verstappen 9th, and Ocon would start where he finished last season, down in P10. Stroll, Hulkenberg, Sainz, Ericsson, Alonso, Grosjean, K-Mag, Van Dorn, and the Toro Rossos around out the grid, are ready for this Russian Grand Prix.
Okay, we qualified higher than we were anticipating. Let's see if we can do just as well in the race.
So the team there very, very happy with obviously how qualifying it did go for ourselves. And now obviously in the race, we really, really wanted to be able to match that feat. As you can see, putting only 29 laps of fuel in, I thought I'd tone it down, ready for this weekend. But ready on the grid or not, as the case may be. Unfortunately, my wheel, my pedals had decided they wouldn't work of the start. This, fortunately, unlike races such as the F1 Esports race last year, I was able to pause it and, well, sort it out once again. There, but it ruins the hype ever so slightly here. But ready then on the grid for the Russian Grand Prix. It is 5 lights and it's the lights out and away we go. They're off to a fairly decent start. It appears Bottas is going to already get to the inside of Hamilton. Instead, there's almost a crash down at kink. Well, the turn 1 kink there. As you can see, Raikkonen and myself, it's almost NASCAR coming in towards turn 1 there. 3 wide for the race lead there. Seb gets squeezed out on the outside. That is not the start he would have wanted there. Raikkonen, we squeeze him out on the exit of the corner there. And now we move ourselves up into P3. A Mercedes power unit 1, 2, 3 here. Down the inside of Bottas we go. There a little bit of contact made between the powers there. But I do make the move work. And that moves us straight away up into P2 of the Russian Grand Prix. A British 1-2 in this race. I don't think we've ever had that in this series, by the end of a Grand Prix weekend. But by the end of lap 1, you can see Lewis is already trying to push away from myself and Bottas is already falling back. So at the moment, we're really sort of operating in a comfortable little window here. As you can see, by the end of lap 4, Raikkonen has now moved up into that P3. So at this rate, he will be pushing out his championship lead over his teammate Sebastian Vettel. And honestly, I think at this stage, he could actually wrap it up next time out at the Japanese Grand Prix. They're out of the final, well, in towards the final sector even. They see already struggling with the back end though, so clearly these Hypersofts don't go as far as the game did reckon they would. The dink the wall, no idea how I didn't pick up front wing damage from that, but we will dive it into the pits on the end of lap 4 and go on to a fresh set of these soft tyres here and hope they can last all the way through to the end of this Grand Prix. The Russian racetrack, not particularly abrasive on tyres, so you should be able to get them all the way through to the very end here. The game reckons honestly it's a very easy one stop from the Hypers onto a set of the ultra soft tyres that I just didn't want to risk it there. Come out of the pit lane, we've got Charles Leclerc all over my rear end there. Fortunately, I was quite surprised that the team got me out ahead of the Sauber driver there. And as we come out of the pit lane here, we're going to be down in clear air there, all the way though down in T18, and now we really need to try and focus on bringing up the pace. You can see Bottas behind me is actually pit at the same time, so onto a fresh set of the ultra soft tyres. So if he's planning to try and take those to the end, 22 laps is a very, very tall order there as we struggle to make it down into turn 2 on those cold tyres. They're already by lap 7, and well, Valtteri was already starting to pile on the pressure on my rear end here. So, it was a bit of a gamble between myself because I wasn't sure if these guys were still going to try and take it to the end and whether I was actually in sort of an on-track battle with them or whether they have to make another pit stop in this Grand Prix. So I wasn't too sure whether I wanted to hold him up. It doesn't look like I'm going to be able to get the option there on Valtteri Bottas as well. He just storms it down my inside in towards Sector 2 here, and now we need to try and stick on his rear end there as he slows me down, parks the bus going through the double right-hander of 6 and 7 as we run wide on the exit there. Charles Leclerc now is going to be able to have the golden opportunity to my outside in towards the next braking zone there, and he does make it work right around the outside. What a move by Charles Leclerc there. I must admit, I was very, very impressed with the AI for pulling that one off. But yeah, we're all over the back of Charles, but we're not going to try and go for a bit of a move in towards this third sector here, because honestly, I did think there's no way they're going to be able to take the Ultrasofts 22 laps in this race. Maybe they'll take them to about lap 20 and then pit once more there, but on to lap 10 though, Valtteri Bottas would actually have a few engine issues if I'm not mistaken. Now, well, the team said car issues there, so we will be able to storm back past him. And now by lap 11 we've got Kimi Räikkönen all over the back of me here on that fresh set of the Ultrasoft tyres, so he is really probably going to be able to make it work right the way through to the very end there. So we need to try and defend from the Ferrari driver here down in towards this final sector. He's going to have a look right around the outside there. If he's able to pull that off, yes he has. A fantastic move made by Kimi Räikkönen, and my teammate has dived into the pit lane as well. But what a move by Kimi Räikkönen there, just 110% confidence right around the outside. And well, if there's any proof that he's too old to be a world champion, I'm sure that has been just washed away with that overtaking manoeuvre there. And well, through the final corner you can see a lot of drivers now into the pit lane here, so we would come all the way back out up in P8 at this stage, but obviously there are still a few more cars waiting to pit there. Lap 12, and Valtteri Bottas was now piling on the pressure as we come down in towards this third sector. There are a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact between the pairings there, and well, he's going to try and do what Kimi Räikkönen was able to just a couple of laps back. We're going to try and defend our move around the outside there, but Bottas does slam the door shut there, and he will now move up into P8 of this Grand Prix. Obviously it'll be a lot higher once all the AI have now made their pit stop. Sebastian Vettel to the inside though of myself. Well, he's going to move now up into P9 of the Grand Prix, so clearly struggling against these guys at this stage of the day there. But Seb actually on a set of Hypersoft tyres there, so clearly that option to go on the Ultrasofts in qualifying has not actually worked out very well for him, because it looks like now he might have to do a two-stop strategy here, but I'm sure we'll see more of that later on in this Grand Prix there. For now, we're back up into P6, so by the end of lap 15 it would actually be back up into the podium places here as well. Everyone that I originally thought, Seb, Charles and Valtteri Bottas, have all had to make a second pit stop here, which does now move me back up into the podium places here. We've got Sergio Perez, who is trying to apply the pressure. Obviously he's already scored, I think, no, it's only one podium even at the Russian Grand Prix, and I'm sure he'd like to make it another one there. But on to lap 18, two-thirds of the way now through this Grand Prix. We've got Max Verstappen piling on the pressure here, but honestly, I don't mind that the Red Bulls are piling on the pressure, because as you can see, on the long run towards turn 1, they simply can't get close enough. So really for me, as long as I don't make a mistake, the Red Bull is almost like a rear gunner for myself. They simply don't have the straight line speed to get past this Williams car, which I think is obviously absolutely phenomenal for ourselves. But on to lap 20 though, you can see Verstappen and Ricciardo are now fighting, so this has given us a golden opportunity. I think it was Fernando Alonso in Fuji 2008, but I think it was the McLarens and the Ferraris all held each other up at turn 1, and he was just told to run like hell, and that is exactly what we're going to have to try and do now in this 2018 Russian Grand Prix. You can see Ricciardo and Verstappen still fighting through the first couple of corners, so we've flicked it up all the way into hot lap mode, and we're just going to try and spend this lap pushing like absolutely crazy here through to the end of Sector 1, and we've already been able to build up a huge gap to the Red Bulls behind there as we come to the end of the Sector 1 split. We have got a 3-second gap already there, so this is absolutely perfect for myself. And on to the end though of lap 24, the start of 25 here. Really now we've just been able to find ourselves in a comfortable window throughout these final 10 laps of this Grand Prix. I thought it would be one of those ones where we had to defend like absolutely crazy here, but it was not the case to be. But as you can see, focusing now in on the mini-map here, my teammate Lance Stroll is applying the pressure to the Red Bull cars that he's actually going to storm right around the outside of. I think that's a Max Verstappen there, up into P4 of this Russian Grand Prix. And if I'm not mistaken, this could be Williams' best result since Italy 2015, and now on to the final lap of this Grand Prix. You can see up in P4 there, Lance Stroll is still holding on to that P4. He's got one sort of back straight that he needs to make sure he defends it on, but I honestly do think he could actually get P4 in this Grand Prix. Just a couple of corners to go though of this race. Lewis Hamilton has come through to win the Russian Grand Prix there, his second win of the season there. Kimi Räikkönen will come through for P2 in this race as well. If I'm not mistaken, this will actually be the first time ever in the Williams Road to Glory Career Mode we've had every single car make it to the finish. So we almost had it just 2 weeks ago at the Italian Grand Prix. And unfortunately, Romain Grosjean retired after Hamilton had finished the race. But down in through the final corners, it is going to be P3 for us in the Russian Grand Prix. And my teammate Lance Stroll is going to hold on for P4, I think, for our Williams' best result in 4 years.
Great drive. We're really happy with that performance.
That's it for another Grand Prix and a fantastic win for Mercedes. And Anthony Davidson, give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this result?
Well, I'd say it's just raw pace, plain and simple. I mean, we could sit here and talk about strategy all day, the overtaking, looking after the tyres, but at the end of it all, if you want to win, you need a package that's got the speed over everyone else, and that's exactly what they had today.
So as I say that, we can see the drivers coming out now to collect their trophies. It's yet more silverware to take back to their base in Brackley after another excellent Grand Prix.
So there we are then, guys. We do take home another podium in the Williams Road to Glory Career. I think that's our 3rd or 4th of the season there. But Lance Stroll, definitely my driver of the day, though. I think he was Anthony Davidson's as well. Coming from P11 all the way to P4, was able to defend from Max Verstappen, the Force Indias, Hulkenberg, Ericsson, and Sebastian Vettel there. But yeah, Hamilton did come through for 25 points. Raikkonen has massively extended his championship lead over his teammate, and I'll sort of run through the championship permutations as we move into the final 4 rounds, final 5 rounds even, of the, well, at the Japanese Grand Prix. But yeah, everyone able to make it through to the end of that race. Fernando Alonso, that had a rough weekend now, well, 20 seconds off the Toro Rosso cars or even, and yeah, I'm sure he is very, very disappointed by that one there. But in terms of the Drivers' World Championship, Kimi Raikkonen now needs to win the Japanese Grand Prix and hope that Seb doesn't come second, and he will be crowned world champion there. So that is the permutations going into the Japanese Grand Prix, although it's pretty much guaranteed now Kimi will probably take it home there. I would move up into P5 there, jumping both Bottas and Sergio Perez there now, so really would like to try and hold on to that 5th place overall. And my teammate Stroll would actually move all the way up into P14 after he's had quite a few little strings of points in recent Grand Prix weekends there, which is obviously very, very good to see. We close up to Force India there in the constructors standings as well, and now it's almost looking like, well, we could potentially hassle them for 4th place overall going into the final few rounds of this season, but now it looks very, very comfortable ahead of Sauber there in the Constructors World Championship. So yeah, Kimi Raikkonen could be crowned world champion as we head out of the Japanese Grand Prix next time out. That would also be the first time ever, obviously, with Sebastian Vettel winning the first 4 rounds of the season. The first time ever someone has won the first 3 rounds of the season and not gone on to win the world title. Would you say the championship is already won? I won it the day I started in F1. It seemed like the stupidest response I went with that, and well, it actually increased my showmanship there. There was quite a bit of contact out there, wasn't there? I'm going to go with a no comment there because, well, every option doesn't really work out well for you. And, well, unfortunately, although giving the sassiest answer in the world to the first one to Colette, she still doesn't get enough gossip for herself there. She likes to stir the pot that is beef in the Formula 1 world there. But there we are then. That has been the Russian Grand Prix. Hopefully we'll get to have a bit of a look as to how many R&D points we were able to take home from this race weekend there as well as see. In terms of the driver rivalries, we have now closed up, I think, to my teammate Lance Stroll. They were just 2 points back, and we are still leading the way over my new rival Nico Hulkenberg there. In terms of R&D from this race, we were actually always able to pick up the race bonus as well, if I'm not mistaken, of qualifying P8. So that'll obviously be an extra 400 points in the bag, which I'm sure will really, really help us out here as we move into the Japanese Grand Prix there. There we go. 400 extra points there takes us up to 745 from that race and 1,007 overall there. So that is really, really ideal. That does mean we're actually going to be able to get one more, I think, aero upgrade on the car here as we move into the Japanese Grand Prix. But there we are then, guys. Hopefully, you have enjoyed this video. Make sure you do like and subscribe. We've actually got contract negotiations going on as well in the background. So I'll sort of just talk over that with the strategy between now and the end of the season. And honestly, we're now just going ham on the upgrades. We're going to try and get as many as we can on the car, mainly start focusing on the chassis, and we'll probably put quite a few on the engine as well. So that is sort of the plan moving into Season 3. Now, really, honestly, we have a good chance of winning the world title in Season 3. So obviously, hopefully, if you guys are new around here, you do like and subscribe. Click the bell icon as well for notifications, because obviously we all know what YouTube sub boxes can be like. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed. As I said, make sure you do like and subscribe. And hopefully I will see you guys next time out at the Japanese Grand Prix.